This is a movie about crazy women, and as such I don't understand why so many critics are bashing it for lack of sense. They can't all be one flews over the cuckoo's nest, people. It is impossible for me to really dislike Sucker Punch. I'm speaking as a person that tends to live inside her head a lot, and I basically grew up thinking about the kind of stuff that is in this movie while listening to the kind of music that this particular soundtrack is composed of. It's like Zack Snyder basically concentrated all my fantasies from when I was 7 years old and growing up into one 2-hour movie. Is it as good as I would have wanted it to be? No, because if it was as good as I wanted it to be, I'm sure a lot of more people would have enjoyed it the way that I enjoyed it. My main problem with Sucker Punch is that, you know there are 5 girls on the poster? Yeah, well, you can forget about 2 of them. 2 of them are pretty much useless, and they might as well not have been in the movie, and it really wouldn't have made that much of a difference. The second big problem that I have is that this is basically a dream within a dream scenario, and you have the girl Baby Doll, who is brought to the asylum, and in the crazy nut house, she thinks of an alternate scenario in which the crazy house is replaced by a cabaret burlesque type venue, and then while she's performing in that particular cabaret style venue, that's when the second dream happens, which are actually the battle sequences that we're all very excited about. By diverting our attention in 3 different places, I think Snyder made a big mistake. If he would have just focused with just person in the crazy house having a fantasy that is just that fantasy, not a fantasy within a fantasy, it would have been a lot better. Now Baby Doll has to gather 5 things for her to get out of the crazy house or the cabaret style or whatever. And another problem that I have with the movie is that the battle sequences kind of up until the 4th object, so we have kind of 4 battle sequences, I think, 4 different crazy scenarios, and they each get more and more exciting and more interesting, and then you kind of think that, oh, obviously it has to end with this big huge thing, and actually no, the 4th and 5th object that she needs kind of happens without any really big fight or big action sequences or anything like that. The thing is that right at the end, Zack Snyder kind of figured that the movie is supposed to be about something, not just about his own fantasies. So he kind of tried to sneak in some meaning into the whole story. And truth be told, I kind of liked the ending in the sense that the whole movie seems to be about Baby Doll, but the ending really isn't, and it's not your typical Hollywood happy ending either. So that's what I liked about it, but I still think that, you know, if you have to find 5 objects and you only really struggle for the first 3 and you only make the search really interesting for the first 3, it's very anticlimactic when the 4th and 5th object kind of just lands in her lap. I heard Zack Snyder describing this movie as being about female empowerment. It really isn't. The only place where I kind of got that is, you see, in the intermediary dream world, in the cabaret style dream world, Baby Doll has to perform a dance for people, and right as she begins to dance, that's when the battle sequences happen, that's when the alternate scenarios kick in, so you never actually see her dancing. But supposedly, you only see the end of it, and supposedly it's so amazing that everybody's like crying and they saw God or something just because this girl danced in front of them. What I interpreted that to be is that she's using her body and her sexuality to get what she wants, but she's not doing it in a demeaning way. We're not seeing her actually whoring herself out. Instead of dancing like a hoe, she's kicking ass like a pro. I even like the overuse of music in this. The first 10 minutes of the movie, there's no dialogue. The story is told only through through images and the music that you hear. And I like that because Sucker Punch is not a smart movie. It is a visceral movie. It is supposed to get you feeling a certain emotion. It's supposed to get you into a certain mood. And music is very adept at that. It's more adept at that than even writing dialogue, some might say. So that's why I think music in Sucker Punch, it worked brilliantly for what the movie wanted to be. Like I said, I think the movie would have benefited a lot from dropping the whole intermediary dream world. Maybe they could have used a better explanation for what happens in the battle sequences, why they're happening in the first place. Yes, the story could have used some work, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. This is the kind of stuff I've been thinking about all my life, and I'm even more excited now for Superman than I was before, because Zack Snyder, yes, this was a vanity project. Yes, he cared more about telling his story than telling a story for the audience. But at the same time, this is the kind of thing that comes from outside the system. This is the kind of thing where a director went to the movie studio and said, give me the money to make the movie that I want to make. And he made it. And I think that's encouraging. I think that's the kind of guy that we need for Superman.